Umlauf families. Welcome. I'm Frances. This is the Umlauf Storytime coming from my backyard. I'm a docent at the Umlauf Sculpture Garden and Museum, and I'm sorry I can't be at the Umlauf to read with you at the garden among our sculptures, but I can be here in my backyard. I'm a docent who gives tours. I give tours to families, I give tours to adults, but I especially give tours to school children. And often I incorporate in my tours a storybook. Today's story time, which we're going to do every Thursday around 12:30, and I'll post it afterwards so you can share with your friends or see it later. Today's story is from the Texas Bluebonnet Award Master List for 2020 and 21. It's called If I Built a School. Author Chris Van Dusen has written a couple other books involving if I built a house, if I built a car, but this one, if I built a school, really spoke to me because since we can't be in our own environments, I can't be touring at the Umlauf welcoming school children on field trips, you can't be in your own school environment enjoying your friends, your teachers, your library books. You possibly can't access school like you used to access school. And one thing about this book that spoke to me is that Chris Van Dusen, the author, says that he values kids' opportunities to be creative and spend time in nature. And that's sort of what we do every day at the Umlauf, is we celebrate the creativity of one particular artist, Charles Umlauf. We celebrate with school children the ability to be on the footpaths and to look at sculptures and to be involved in nature, to hear the birds, hear the waterfalls around us, and listen to each other talk about art. Before I start reading, I wanted to mention to you that Chris Van Dusen says he was a dreamer, like his main character, Jack. He says as a kid he spent lots of time being outdoors, playing in nature. His brother and he would create towns on the stone walls and use their matchbox cars in those walls on paths that they created through the stones. He said they were constantly using their imaginations. He said he drew all the time. And in fact, he not only wrote this book, he did the illustrations. Let's start this book together. If I Built a School, again, by Chris Van Dusen. And I want to say thank you to Dial Books for Young Readers and Imprint of Penguin Random House for letting us read this today. Jack, the main character. Jack on the playground said to Miss Jane, "This school is okay, but it's pitifully plain. The builder who built this, I think, should be banned. It's nothing at all like the school I have planned." You see Jack on the swing set talking to Miss Jane, his teacher. If I built a school, the first thing you'd meet are lots of cute puppies. They'd flock to your feet. But why stop at puppies? Why not a whole zoo? So I'd add a bunch of big animals too. Let me just stop here for a minute because at the Umlauf we have an entire menagerie, entire group of animals on one of our footpaths. And maybe some of you have heard about the animals at the Umlauf or seen the animals at the Umlauf. And one of the things that the author here said is that he thought it would be so cool if kids had a zoo in the lobby of their schools. So why not create one? So that's what Jack would do. He would create a lot of animals, a zoo. Welcome to school. Right off the lobby to get to your class, I'd set up a system of tubes made of glass. You'd hop in a pod, press the number, then zoom. In under 10 seconds, you're right at your room. Does this look like your schools? There might be a school out there that has got this designed. All of the classrooms are built onto towers that sprout from the schoolyard like colorful flowers. And like giant petals that welcome the day, the roofs open up in a similar way. Panels fold back and they let in the sun, which frankly makes being there that much more fun. That's one of the things that Chris Van Dusen said. He said it probably is the most important thing for kids in their classroom environments to get enough fresh air and sunshine. Well, I hope you all are doing that today. Wherever your school is, whether it's at home, whether it's your grandparents', whether it's outside your backyard. Now, come see your classroom. Isn't it grand? That free floating platform is where you would stand. And using a stylus, you write in the air. No blackboard, no whiteboard, no, nothing is there. Your words just appear and they magically glow. Don't ask how this works because I don't really know. Do you see how it's written in the air, hello with a star? Sort of like those airplane contrails, the traces that you might see in the sky sometimes. But you're not the only one floating around. Check out the desks. They don't touch the ground. These are my hover desks. See how they glide? They even have bumpers in case you collide. There's Jack and some of his friends. They're kind of wondering what's going on. In my kind of classes, we wouldn't have tests. I'd liven things up with some hologram guests. Here are some samples of what I've been thinking. You might meet a T-Rex or Abraham Lincoln. T-Rex, Abraham Lincoln. Virtually. The library's next, my favorite spot. The library's next, so let's have a look. You won't find your everyday regular book. These books come alive when removed from the racks. They pop up like pop-ups, but pop to the max. And if you're not sure what a book is about, you'll find out quite quickly when something pops out. And of course, Jack is reading Jack and the Beanstalk. Might make sense, but his beanstalk is coming out through that roof that I guess opens up. Still have all the regular books though. It's off to the gym, and this place is so cool. Around it, please note my perimeter pool. The pool's a deep oval that everyone likes. You race underwater on submarine bikes. Up there is my trampoline basketball court. It's partly a bounce house and partly a sport. There's also a rock wall, and here's something new. I've added some skydiving wind tunnels too. This is quite the gym. I just heard the lunch bell, so let's go and eat. I'd like you to meet my new Robo Chef Pete. He's 20 feet tall and he spins on a gear. You order your lunch in this microphone here. And Pete can make anything, simple or weird, from PB and jelly to squid, lightly seared. Only one cafeteria worker. Only one person here doing it all, Robot Pete. I hope y'all are helping in your cafeterias at home. It's now time for recess. Let's head out the door. My playground is awesome. So much to explore. Fly on the zip line way up in the sky, or slide down the twisty slide 3 stories high. And after all that, if you're hot and you're beat, then you can go tubing. Now that would be sweet. In art, we use sprayers to splash out the paint. In music, we're loud, but our teacher's a saint. And over in science, just one of the features is a lab-grown, genetically modified creature. Actually, many creatures. So art, music, and science are all together. All very creative endeavors. We'll visit new places, we'll travel, explore, because we'll go on field trips galore. My specialty buses will tote us around. They dive underwater, they blast off the ground. And yes, they have wheels like our regular cars, which neatly retract when we rocket to Mars. Field trips actually are my favorite for you all because that's when I get to entertain students at the Umlauf. Here's Jack's school. One big last photo of it, or illustration. My school will amaze you. My school will astound. By far the most fabulous school to be found. Perfectly planned and impeccably clean. On a scale 1 to 10, it's more like 15. And learning is fun in a place that's fun too. If I built a school, that's just the poem I'm going to read, with a very beloved, one of the most favorite sculptures at the Umlauf, called Lotus. And Lotus is a hippo. You can also find Lotus by going on the website at the Umlauf. So this poem is about a hippopotamus. The hippopotamus. Regard the hippopotamus, for he is very wise. He does not work and slave like us, but lives on cakes and pies, and other sweets, and grows immense. And when his legs collapse, he rolls himself into the swamps and floats and licks his chops. His chops are his teeth. Regard the hippopotamus, for he is very wise. He does not work and slave like us, but lives on cakes and pies. I'll try to read a poem every week during the month of April. Wait, there's one bit more. My camera woman is trying to get me off the camera. Again, thank you for joining me at Storytime this week. It's been really fun. It's been fun to be in my backyard. It's a little warm. And I want you to take the time, families, to go on the Umlauf website. Consider supporting us. Consider checking out the Shaping Space educational outreach program that we're doing. It's a once-a-month new art-based program with a theme. Art is in Bloom is the theme this month. And we also would love for you to check out our new online shop. You can send a postcard for a very small amount of money to someone you love and can't be with. And you might even be able to find a postcard with Lotus, the hippo. Again, thank you for joining me. I'm Frances, the docent at the Umlauf. I will see you next week. Cheers.